Alright, so I'm testing new, I need a haircut, you can see that, so camera, this is the front angle of, I don't even know, Motivate Pro 5G AT&T locked. So, I spent through at least 5 gigs. I would say 7 to be safe, and then I'm going to request an additional 3 gigabits for the trial and tribulations I had to go through. This is AI enabled, or I don't know how they word it, but basically every app you had to go through authorization, which loaded the app, went through the data, showed the information, and then you try to do the credit card stuff to update the credit card. And I know what they're trying to do is funnel you through the Google pay system. Oh, and I didn't do my beard. God, I'm wrecked today. So I got to call AT&T. I'm going to wait until Monday to do that. I'll most likely at least get 5 gigs. That's an easy one. That's a standard that they throw out. But I wasted more than that on connecting all my devices and making sure that the AI has not got access to the other devices and stuff. What I did learn, though, is that the 5G devices, if you want to sneak under the radar, get a 4G device on a 5G network. So, because after you've reached your limit, it can't register. It doesn't know how to limit the data transfer. I mean, you get a decent speed all the way through. And you're already used to the clock speed of the 4G because it's already slow to begin with. So I've been working with 4G since I got my contract, which I got to find out when that started. It's been at least 8 months. So in addition to my argument would be that as well. I haven't been getting 5G data, but that's my own fault, but I couldn't afford the device. Now this device is at $50. Amazing device. I just don't like the AI enabled. Which brings an underlying argument or discussion that needs to be had. It's the same with the contracts with Google's, with the apps and stuff. It's the same with the AI. So what happens is, as soon as, it doesn't matter what type of device you have, even if it's the basic phone, as soon as you go onto a service that has AI enabled, you have just opened up the hornet's nest. All right, there's no point in getting the cheaper device to slow down whatever. That AI is going to find a way to route information to your phone or get information off of it. It's just not going to be as obvious because you don't have all the data and or the processing speed and stuff. So you'll know when something. It's like clicking when you're on an adult site, clicking a link and it pops up a window. You'll notice it, but you know to click out or hit back or avoid the site completely. So, additional things. There's so much I got to talk about. All right, let's get a location. That's where we're at. Can't really get. This is where I did my DWI parole officer when this was back 2010, 11. So, no, I think it was 13 or 14 or something. I don't know. I had to go into lockup for a couple weeks because I couldn't get on the. Well, they told me to just come in with the payment, so I came in with the payment, and then they're like, "Oh, court is today, but you're not on the docket. But we're going to go ahead and pull you right in on this." So I sat there for 2 weeks. I wasn't on the next week's docket. There was a holiday or something, and then the following week, I got on the docket, and I bawled my eyes out. I was done. I was pissed. I'm like, I'm being used here. So this is going on the House forum, the I'm Cuckoo for Quackers. So that's acknowledge our quackers. So, because we're all Jeep ducks. I found out that's a good thing, the Jeep and the ducks thing. I just thought it was like cheap tricks or the F word right after cheap. Like it was a tally count of how many times you went to the bar and picked up, or maybe you, it's the opposite thing. I don't know. I was incorrect. I was sorely mistaken. So, This is going to be a little bit all over the place. I'm having a processing problem. We're just going to say shadows. I'm going to talk delusional. It is not that, but it's your. I've explained it in a different way when I was off medication. But with light, it's different though, because this is shadows. It's the opposite spectrum. So with the light though, what I suggested, I was specifically at Walmart, the event I'm thinking of, and I was talking to just a stranger. We've been in it for 3 minutes, and I wouldn't make eye contact. I was looking directly forward. They were occasionally turning forward. They could tell I was physically done. I was just exhausted, and my head's kind of wrinkles. Here, let's talk face. So, yeah, no, that was special ed, whatever. So, I'm not going to drink the bath water. There's only one person in the house that suggests I drink the bath water. That is not okay across the board. I have too many experiences where it's just not okay. And then I tried to resolve those experiences when the time came up, but it's just like, you're not listening. So I'll do my thing. I'll put my keys in there, and hopefully it'll pay out in the later aspect of things. But a request was made that I focus on the number one rule. I'm going to do that throughout live. All right, that's not for me. I've already explained it. JK, just a little inside joke between me and someone else. So I've explained my situation. I explained that I'm in at 100%. I have to move on with my narrative. The person that I talk to currently sits next to me and just kind of just says, you do you. You can see him in videos. What's her face? God, who had a boyfriend the same name as me. They're like, oh, he's doing his thing. Well, I found a few different individuals that do their thing that I can explain from point A to point B to C to D all the way to F. So it's just it's hard to explain to someone else who hasn't experienced it, or maybe you have experienced a version of it, and the easiest way to do it is there's jailhouse talk, and then there's crazy acute care talk, or hyper traumatic talk. There's this variation of belief or acknowledgement, I would say. And there was the Cars truck, I forget what it is, tow truck guy just drove by. Didn't have the tow truck, same truck. It's green though, so light green, not military green, light green. So there's a difference. So with the Depakote, it does shadows, and it's prescribed for medications, as medication for schizophrenia. What I found, I didn't fully realize this the first time I did it. The one thing I did realize when I first did it was the male aspect of things. I don't know how it works for females, but there's a discharge sometimes. And then when you go to actually do the discharge, there's nothing left. It's empty. You go through the full cycle. There's nothing out, which is fucking hilarious and amazing the first time, but it's annoying as all get up. You go out throughout your life doing the one thing, and then all of a sudden things change. And you know damn well what it is, but the doctor don't want to take you off of it for that. They figure, yeah, you don't need to be spreading your seed because you're a crazy fuck. I'll agree on my terms and definitions of that. Your terms is cutting off my choice to have children. So, anyways, I've already made my choice. I know what I want. So, and how I'm going to do it. Apparently 36 women are supposed to house babies for me. That was supposed to be this year, or was it next year? It was this year, and it was a baby farm. Or a factory farm, I forget what it is. It definitely ain't that Rick and Morty Playhouse reality shit. That's fucked up. So, but anyways, my therapist, different one before I had a therapist, headlined it out and explained it. She thought it was hilarious. She kept laughing and poking fun. Why do people poke fun of me? They poke fun and jazz me up. I'm just like, no. Like the bathwater incident. I understand that Depakote is a healthy salt. That doesn't mean I go lay in the sea lakes and then drink that instead of Depakote. I mean, that is an option. But I ain't going to drink the Kool-Aid. I don't expect the house to drink my Kool-Aid. Right? I want them to figure out their own algorithm, their own things. That's the whole point of this. So I try to ignore as much as I can, but certain things I can't because I know it's wrong. And I don't know how to explain that to them without explaining that I know. I've lived through it. I know this. The jailhouse things is the shadow and the voices. That's what it comes down to. You're in lockup so long, you start talking to yourself, it starts turning homophobic because that's all you see is men or women. I don't know about the women aspect again, but I hear their stuff is worse than the men's stuff. Which it's just mind fuck. So, basically, back to Walmart. I'm here, and this is, okay, how do I do this? I'm trying to figure out the camera. My brain's not processing. My left eye is where I sit. I was on the left side. To the right was the female. And she was talking to me. And then what I do is stare straightly forward. And there's two different methods to this. There's just one, you do the natural light. You just do whatever it is. And you let the side peripheral. Now, I don't know how this works with people that have depth perception or problems, but you let that peripheral vision drift a little bit until you find a mix between body language and conversation of someone that you knew prior. So at that aspect, you then channel their past experience, their information, those shared things that you've actually lived into the conversation. You let it bleed over. Now, I took it one step further, and there's a dog hanging out of a white car. He's a black dog out of a white car. I assume they call him Whitey. So, but you let that bleed over into the conversation because you're never going to see this person again, and that's the easiest way for you to accommodate a caring, loving environment for someone that is wanting your attention. It makes them family, or at least a close friend. So, but that same thing happens with the shadows. It's just the reverse end of the spectrum. But that's more of a fear-based response, and that comes with the jailhouse stuff. So I learned it opposite, apparently, which is fine, but it's the same fucking thing. The Depakote, when you take the Depakote, the visual cortex starts differentiate. It separates. And, you know, when you first wake up, you're still dreaming type deal. After taking the pill, you start entering that dream phase. But when you try to attempt, and you're still cognitive, you're fully functional. But when you try to translate that dream phase imagery inside your head out on paper, either through communication or the drawing form, there's a disconnect, and that disconnect then translates over into whatever process that you're doing, verbal communication, both body and oral. So, and then what happens is that you communicate from a Depakote user, okay, and that's not like drug-seeking user type behavior. You can speak normally, but your emotional resolve, those hard conversations, the conflict is taken out of your decision architecture to broach those conversations, and it becomes a fight to even get to that. Because, you know, you get to those conversations, if you say that, if something's bothering you, you say it right away, ain't gonna be an issue. I know that's an issue with you, not a big issue. I respect you enough, I'm gonna stop doing that. If you wait 10 years and then say, you know that one thing that you do, you just munch on the thing and you make that when you eat or chew gum or, you know, you gnaw on whatever, that's going to be a huge issue. It's, why didn't you tell me in the first place? I would have worked. And then by this time, I would have had that broken out of my system. So, that type of deal. All right. The additional thing is I'm also taking Risperdal. I'm also taking Kappa something, which I was told to get off of that and the blue pill as well from a trusted individual that I use as back channel communication. Now, trying to explain that to the RCF, they're like, who the fuck are these people? And what do you mean by blah, 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 blah? This is all delusional. I'm like, yeah, this AI shit's all delusional. All right, and this has to be approached as well. All right, it's a one and done thing. All right, that's what I've explained. I explained that there was a video where I walked the corner, and I explained it's already been lined out. The TikTok community is how I label it, but the new kids have already defined their information structure. It's already lined out. We're burning the prior thing, and we're learning the new one. So. If you're not wanting to be a part of it, fine. We will make accommodations, but you're not going to get payouts like the data analysts that we have here. So, but we will do our best to keep you out of the information circle. The only reason why it's a one and done. I did the CC0 because it was required. It's required to prove a point that dreams are only achieved by you and you alone, your dreams, okay? No one's going to do that. If someone says that you need to do it this way for the dream, but you believe it's something else, well, I may try it, but it doesn't mean it's going to work. But I'm not going to try it with the idea that it's not going to work because I don't believe you. It's like I'm going to take the bits and pieces that work for me. So I'm going to send an email to my house owner, I don't know, landlord, maybe. I don't know what to classify. It's good people doing things. It's the same old though, in my verbal opinion right now. I don't see the steps. It's I'm trying to be adaptable, but I feel like I'm doing improv and I'm the only person that knows improv. So, which I know I'm not, because there's like it goes back to those shadows and light. So with the Walmart one, it was a light flare. Like you can see the energy, you can see that output. It's fucking amazing, because what will happen is it triggers the old person, and then you start developing a new candle or light for this new person. And then all of a sudden you see them step up. They start providing information like no other. They're trying to keep your attention on them because they want that attention. They want to be just tore apart. They feel connected. They're like, this person really cares. I want to show my best. You can see, like with women sometimes, depending on conversation, their blood will flush and they will look younger. It's like everything starts lighting up. You can see like age fall off. It's fucking amazing. Now with the shadows, it's different. It's not just people though. All right, with the light, it's people and the animals. You can tell there's a difference. It takes practice with animals, and I was going to do a video on that on my personal, because that's not a house thing. That's a personal belief. It's like, how am I, you and you, me? How are we both running the same game? Blah 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 blah. Well, that's more of an AI thought process, but basically, at the end, this is just hypothetical. They say, we're gonna give you one of everything, just one of everything, and it's your job to take over the world and create your dream. So that's one blade of grass, one ant, one bird, etc. all the way up. So you're like, how do I work with that? How do I do that? How do I do whatever? Well, you got to start with the smallest thing. You've got to understand their communication skills, their thought process. You learn how grass grows. You learn out the difference between different types of grass grows. It all translates over. Once you nail that one, no matter where it falls in the line, it could be an elephant or a giraffe or a zebra. Anyways, once you figure that out, then you just start backtracking and then forward tracking until you get to the human, because we're at the top of the tier at this point. But now it's AI. So the reason you go back on my storage, you'll find a lot of connections, because that was information from my AI. I've been trying to say it, like, not all that stuff is me. All right, I was just repeating information. Fucking C8. All right, this isn't. That's from Texas, though. We ain't gonna mess with Texas. All right. So, of which was my first relationship. Shit show, but anyways, I learned not to do that anymore. But the shadows, it can be any one of those items will shift your viewpoint, and you'll see action of a human outside of your perception and your visual perception right in front of you. So if you're looking to the side, that's your focal viewpoint, and it's in the same area you see the light. So and then you're working. That's your base set as a psychosis patient. So the one thing I had to tell my mom, I think it was 12 weeks prior to 10, 15. I don't know the year. I think it was 21 maybe. But I said, you can't believe the audio. You can't believe that. If you don't see it, it never happened. That's what you got to remember. So, and that doesn't mean ignore something. You listen to it to a point, and then you step up to a safe space where you can see what's going on. You make sure it's okay, and then you take the appropriate steps. If you know that you stepping up to that one point is going to receive heat, then dial 911 before you do that. All right, just stand there, let the conversation rolls out. That's what 911's for. So, Jeep, yellow. Yeah, that's what, yellow's never going to be driven by me, but I asked someone, I'm like, what's your next car? Well, probably going, no, that's the Bronco. Sorry, my bad. It's not a Bronco 2. There's a difference between Bronco and Bronco 2. 1986, maybe. Anyways, I probably got the year wrong. So, anyways, back to the soup. The jungle juice. No, that ain't it either. The seawater, the bath water. Anyways, I had to do some data analysis to figure out where that came from. And dear God, it's Charlie. All right, Charlie did it. He did the alcohol sunscreen. You'll have to find that on YouTube. He's the one that figured it out. They're like, no, we don't need to deal with this. This ain't, we're on vacation. No. So I had my vacation. It wasn't really a vacation, but it was what it was. And then the other connection is major pain. When he talks about the little choo-choo that could, you got to understand. You're that choo-choo. You're going up that hill. I think I can. Sometimes I think I can ain't going to work it. It's like I'm doing this because I went through that shit before and this ain't going to happen again. So, and that's not for me to progress on someone else. That is me to take the next step. If you have never been exhausted to the point where it's a challenge to take the next step, you have that blood rushing up and down from your head down to your feet, and you can feel your blood pressure dropping. But you need to know that within a certain time you've got to be at a meeting because you don't have transportation or money to pay for it. You just get it done, all right? And then that next time it's easier. Your body's used to it. So, and you don't have to use those negative coping mechanisms. And then additionally, those negative coping mechanisms aren't as strong the next time because you've attached positive memories to it. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and post this. It is now 11:36 a.m. CNT. That's Central. I still haven't figured out why it said DNT, but it could have just been a typo. Or they changed the time zones and I've entered the Twilight Zone. Both viable. Nothing's impossible. So we're in the Wizard of Oz. This is LA. Everywhere is LA. It's just an overlay with our augmented glasses. That ain't a thing, Joshua. You crazy as fuck. I'll talk to you later. I'm on the camera. Bye.